Hi folks, thanks for joining me again for another watercolour demo. This is the Fisherman, I've called this one. Doing this one slightly differently in that I'm recording the commentary afterwards. Decided to do a speeded up painting for a change. I think this one took about 39 minutes, something like that, so I've speeded it right up, try and get it under 10 minutes. I did this one. See, originally I wasn't actually recording this one for YouTube, I was just doing it for my book. I'm up to about Watercolour Painting Made Simple Volume 5 now. So this is a chapter in my new book, but I thought it's a shame to just waste the video and delete it. So I thought because I didn't do a commentary, I was doing it and leaving big gaps and whatnot, that's why it lasted so long. So I thought I'd speed it up and then do the commentary afterwards, just so you could get some value out of it. I hope you enjoy it. So I've focused on, again, leaving that central lit area. You can see I've done a lot of some trees in the distance, and these ones coming slightly into the middle ground now. A few darker sections here and there, a bit of light red, as well as the lemon yellow and all the normal green colours. Now I'm switching to the rigger now, number 3 rigger, pulling down the reflections as I'm going along. And a lot of these will soften off into the distance when we sort of contrast them against the real strong foreground trees. So I'll switch back to the height brush. You'll have to forgive my head just constantly bobbing. I'm just sort of focusing on the reference photograph that I'm working from. So I've cut across where the reflections are there now, just to get that raw sienna in and create that sort of land area. Switching back to the rigger brush, now you can see these are going a lot stronger. These will be burnt umber, bit of ultramarine in there, much stronger tones, just to push. You can see how the stronger foreground tones just helps push those distant ones a little bit further back, the lighter ones. So I'm switching over to the right hand side, a few more trees, and then what I'm going to do here is, because I wasn't entirely happy with the sort of atmosphere of it, I'm just going to give it a dry, and then I'm going to re-wet it, and then put like some more washes over the top of it, try and create a more atmospheric piece. So once it's dry, I'll just use some clean water and just wet it all the way over. Then I've got a bit of lemon yellow, touch of ultramarine in there as well, just to create that sort of massive foliage effect. Right then, and then I'm going back in with a few, sort of strengthening those trees in the background now. And because everything's sort of blending together, it's just making it a little bit more atmospheric. Back in with the rigger. Don't forget to pop the reflections in at the same time. And then just a light touch will create very narrow tree trunks. If you want thicker tree trunks, you'd have to press down a little bit harder. Just experiment. It's all about practice. Back with the rigger brush now. Just working on that foreground, just lightening 1 or 2 areas here and there, working in a few little light reds. Now I'm back trying to create a few darker tones now in that middle ground section. A few more darks on the right. I'm constantly trying to work light against dark. Now these are I'm using a chisel edged height now, just to create the river banks. Just a few little darks here and there. Just make sure it's fixed flat against the board. And then I'm just using a plastic card now, just to scrape in a few little rocks along the banks of the river, while I'm trying not to overdo it. If you do overdo it, you can always paint over them. It's not the end of the world. few more darks in there just to break up those trees in the middle ground, amongst the undergrowth. So I'm back to the hake brush now. This is some just squeezed out some fresh lemon yellow from the tube, and just using a dry hake brush, clean dry hake. I'll scuff it up on the tea towel. Just a few little bright colours there amongst all the more gloomy colours, for want of a better expression. So now I'm just constantly thinking, what shall I do? How can I create more atmosphere? So now I thought I'll put the shadows in now. So I often use a mixture of ultramarine, light red and burnt umber, and then depending on how much water you use will determine just how bold the shadows are, how transparent they are, how much of the ground underneath you can see. So the shadows have helped create a few more darker tones now. Not forgetting to always pop the reflections in at the same time, because otherwise it's very easy to forget. So now I'm coming right down into the foreground, using the number 3 rigger just to create these foreground trees, putting them in nice and dark. A few more over on the right hand side, popping in the reflections at the same time. Constantly reloading the brush as well. Lots of paint, lots of water. Obviously the rigger, very different brush to the hake. The hake holds mountains of water. The rigger brush, you'll just have to constantly keep having to reload it. You can use the hake brush for these tree trunks as well, but I just find they just seem to look a bit more natural with the rigger, I find. And I'll do like a little wiggle as I'm going up, just so that they're not what you don't want, like real straight sort of lollipop tree trunks. They do sort of bend slightly here and there. Pop in a few little twigs and branches. Deliberately, you'll notice a few twigs into that light area, just to maximise the contrast. Always looking to exploit the contrast. So now I'm back to the hake brush. Just darkening these riverbanks. Just probably use a bit of burnt umber, I think that is. A bit of burnt umber, a bit of ultramarine, my sort of go-to darks. So I've got the sort of main sort of composition in there. Now I thought I'd put a light coloured tree in. So I've just used a dry hake brush and just took the paint off to get down to the white of the paper. Just something a little different now. I'm just trying to create a little bit of texture on it. I made a bit of a mess of it there, unfortunately, so I just had to wipe it with a tissue. But then I'll just cover that up with few leaves. No one will know. Pop a few more yellows and greens a bit. A few leaves up in the trees, a few down on the ground as well. And I'm almost done now. Just now thinking about that little fisherman. How shall I put the fisherman in the distance? So I'm back to the rigger. And just very gently, not too dark, just pop him in there and a little reflection below. And I'm pretty much done now. Just put a few little darks there on the water, and I hope you enjoy that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.